So, in researching King Arthur, I'm not really trying to figure out who he was historically. Because who he was historically, especially if you're starting from Geoffrey Monmouth, is probably a fictional person. He probably wasn't one person. He was probably many people. Because in the Celtic Christian tradition of the centuries around the fall of the Roman Empire, so between the 5th and the 7th centuries, the Celtic Christian tradition maintained that old school, that old tradition, the old naming tradition of naming people after mythical animals. So bears. And Artur means bear. So any king, any great warrior with the nickname the Bear was an Artur. So a King Artur is just King Bear Man. And we've all heard of bear sarkers, we've all heard of berserkers, and what we don't like to do, those of us who speak English and love King Arthur, what we don't like to do is look at the King Arthur myths as being related to the Viking myths, as being related to the sagas. But the people who created these people, the people who created these songs, the Skalder, the bards who made these songs, were effectively Norse. They were from a literary religious standpoint, they were undifferentiable. They were the same. So much were they the same that they intermarried with the Franks before the Franks became the French, before Charlemagne, before the Pipinid family. But they didn't like the Frisians, and the Frisians, well, they were the Saxons and the Angles. But you gotta understand, neither did the Danes, the Swedes, the Norse, the Norwegians, the Finns, they didn't like them either. I'm sure you've heard of, because I'm sure you've heard me talk about it, the Fenris wolf, the Fenrir. Well, that means the wolf man, the werewolf from the Fen. Well, the Fen is the swamplands of Frisia. The Fenrir, the Fenris wolves, were werewolves. They were wolf berserkers, wolf sarkers, right? Wolf shirts, wolf warriors from the Netherlands. They were Saxons. No one liked those guys because they worshiped the wolf. They didn't worship the bear. The bear is a lonely, solitary figure who only does the kind of damage that bears can do when they're threatened. Wolves, on the other hand, are aggressive pack-hunting scavengers. Well, in the period before the Viking Age, what did you most fear? Wolves. And what kind of humans did you most fear? Pack-hunting scavengers. Why? Because they didn't just scavenge food, they scavenged slaves. And what does the Fenris wolf do? The Fenris wolf eats everything, even the sun. Arthur is a mythical king who defends against wolves who eat the sun.